Hello everyone, today I'm looking at Sly Cooper and Thieves in Time. This is technically the fourth Sly Cooper game, and honestly this was not a game I was planning on playing, but it was just so short I went ahead with it anyway, which kind of tells you what kind of feeling I have towards the game. It's okay, it's fine, but we really didn't need a fourth one in this series where... yeah, it does improve on some mechanics and some gameplay elements, but it just kind of recycles kind of the same stories, the same elements as last time. What is actually, I think, new and something that you could tell they were hinting at in the last game is that they wanted to explore, ever since the first game, they're talking about Sly's ancestors who actually composed the Thievius Raccoonus and all of these, different aspects of the history and the game and whatnot. And so... they finally kind of did that with this game where you go basically travel to different time periods and you have 5 different levels, 5 different ancestors, and you interact with them as well as getting a different costume system for Sly, which gives him an extra ability just for that kind of costume, kind of like Lego Star Wars in a way. Now, here's kind of like the main issue, because I knew it's called Thieves in Time, right? So I knew there's going to be a time travel aspect to it, but I thought, they're going to be sucked into some time loop, some time hole. No, Bentley just casually makes a time machine, and because Bentley notices that the actual words from the Thievius Raccoonus are disappearing in front of his eyes, he makes the inference that the only way to solve this is to go back in time and to stop that from happening, which frankly does not make any sense whatsoever. And the way they get back into the past is by using certain pieces from that time frame to return to that time, which again kind of calls into question, if you don't have the right piece for the right time frame, you can't really go there, and just a whole bunch of things are very inconsistent with this setup. The other thing that actually really messed it up for me was that you also have essentially these modern characters that are also sent back in the past, but they're the villains. So basically you have this new villain called Le Paradox, who is a skunk, and essentially he's sending his henchmen back in time to disrupt these different time frames so he can get revenge on Sly Cooper, because they have some family history apparently with that Sly did not even know about, that his father basically stole a gem and accidentally set up this other guy who's also going to steal it before him. So you go to basically 5 different time periods, and in the span of that time, again, it's just really dumb because of that. So it's just like everyone can just time travel now. It's like not a big deal at all. It's super, super casual. So that's the one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way. And the first act, you go to ancient Japan, then you do the Wild West in the 1800s, then you do medieval England, and then medieval Arabia, and then finally ancient times. They have basically Grug, the first, well, they call him Bob, but like the very first caveman raccoon. And I thought that was really funny because that was not in any of the book or the third game's references at all. Like, they mentioned a lot more characters. Like, I was actually really excited to go to the Victorian time period because that was the main characters that was talked about in 3, and just we didn't get any of that. And so for better or for worse, this game is only really 5 levels with one final level kind of knockoff, and that's pretty much the whole game. And I beat it in like around 10 hours or so. So yeah, not a very super long game, but yeah, they throw a lot of mechanics at you, a lot of old stuff that you're familiar with, but they make everything seem, it flows better. It's a lot more seamless. Sly and the Gang has a slightly different redesign now, so his face looks a little bit more human-like or angular. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but his look in this game very much resembles his look in the movie trailer, so you can see what kind of aspect they were trying to go for based off this game. Something interesting is that what has returned in this game are collectibles. Basically, you have bottles, you have treasure chests, you have art pieces, and there's a whole compendium to collect. And again, while that's nice. I never really felt compelled to do it, especially once I got the first safe with getting by all 30 bottles in one area, and I realized, oh, it's just one piece of a staff that is going to require 4 other pieces. So there's no advantage unless you get all, like 150 bottles, more or less. So that just kind of was unintended. And again, I was playing this game in a way that I didn't really want to enjoy it or like it, and so because of that, I just kind of went through it as fast as I could, didn't do any of the side stuff, and that was kind of, I think, a good way to do it, because a lot of the side stuff did not really seem compelling anyway. But yeah, Sly has costumes in this one, so he gets extra powers on the fly for like certain puzzles and different abilities, and you can also play as his ancestors, which range from a knight to a cowboy to a classical Arabian thief. Actually, my favorite, surprisingly, was the Wild West one, Tennessee Kid Cooper. Maybe just his character, and he teams it with Carmelita. They just have a lot of really good, where he has a lot of really good chemistry. I really liked him as a character, which I found very surprising. And of course, you have Gareth Cooper, who is talking in old English prose and about, have at thee and all this kind of stuff, very Quixote-ish. But yeah, basically these levels are basically these large hub worlds that you use to go around the area. Yeah, there are sub-mission areas within these areas, but it seems like they've tapered down a lot on those sub-missions. For example, I only had like one helicopter mission during this game, and it feels like they just cut out a lot of the stuff that felt like it slowed down the pacing of the previous game, so yeah. And just thinking about the previous game, the third one just ended so well that all of the reasons they have to say Sly Cooper comes out of retirement and he breaks up with Carmelita and, Bentley and so on kind of get all back in the gang. It's kind of like we reached a level of revolution where, Sly had kind of, hit his peak and then kind of found his exit of the crime world, and just the excuse for him to get back into it is not super compelling. It's just because he does. In a way, this is kind of similar to Uncharted 4, where I don't remember too much of it, but I just remember, actually no, Uncharted 4 wasn't too bad because it introduced his brother as a new kind of reason for him to actually start doing things, and here the reason is just so, I don't want to call blatantly terrible, but it's just so underwhelming that there's no real cachet to it. I think one thing that's good is it seems like collecting money and coins for power-ups is a lot easier in this game. That being said, however, there are actually a lot more powers in this game that you can upgrade, and a lot of them are really cool, but a lot of them you'll just never really get to use them, and so it's this kind of conflict between making the game too long, making the game too short, mapping out how many powers you have or want to have versus how many characters you or opportunities for the characters to actually fully utilize them in a fun and interesting way, and this kind of, again, it kind of hits a functional peak. I was a little bit confused because this game was made by Sansaru and not Sucker Punch. And I don't know the history of Sansaru, which means, Three Monkeys, which is their logo. But, all things considered, I would say this game functions as well as a normal Sly Cooper game. It's just that maybe there's a little bit less of impact when you are doing certain things like picking up coins and landing, but you kind of get over that and forget about it after a while. But yeah, along with Tennessee Cooper and just the shooting sections, he has this like Crackshot Deadeye thing, which is just totally out of Red Dead Redemption almost. He's a very fun character to play as. He was really, really fun. He had a whole play style around him. Some of the other ones, like the Japanese one, Akihiko, I think, he just has like one movement mechanic that allows him to leap farther, but he functions exactly the same as normal Sly, basically. So, I don't know, I kind of felt like there was a lot more room to expand on those characters and the powers they had and their play styles, but instead of doing all these different new characters and gameplay types that they did in 3, they kind of just gave extra powers to Cooper. And yeah, I guess this was maybe like a field test to see if Sly could come back into the modern age, and Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this game except that it's okay. It's a Sly Cooper game. It's nothing breathtaking or amazing. It doesn't do anything really new, unfortunately, and yeah, it's kind of like a fine place for the series to end off, especially since they dropped the number. So, I mean, yeah, that's unfortunately the best I can really say about it. It's a short kind of, hurrah, but it is, definitely in the same vein as a Sly Cooper game. It's not a total record disaster or cash out or anything. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. I'll see you later. Bye.